ngaro na la wato kuma ta bak asira linga da fo ko nyi founding kila
hey elafta maboro la bank kalpo efa igiso eseo na yuna jang ibadin kiyato kati yuna wallet ibe falindiro ke kan sandiri nyat
ni la yuna wallet o si muna fanno tulo yabo mano kandrin en fen jama isi sanno la yuna wallet o kono yalla kamo soto ila wallet o kono
alkana la konda no tay ka yuna wallet anatan tolle rukan na balwo fanondi abe sono yaren ko bulu podo ne la mobile scan yo science ise maboro ke wato men diate
ko be sandro ke fongole ba ko ba ke kan dimbalem isi ñu lonko e sandro se yona enterprise wato wati ani la yona wallet tola ibe lan kamo soto kay la wallet o kono
alina na kafun nanyi yuna dimbayal tan kasandiro ke yuna biti foto alina kata nyin ko kentat na sura fon lolu sandiro kije se maboro fanan keje
moro jundi ana nyum ko di mabal ni kadeda
the UN
ngaro na la wato kuma ta bak asira linga da fo ko nyi founding kila
hey elafta maboro la bank kalpo efa igiso eseo na yuna jang ibadin kiyato kati yuna wallet ibe falindiro ke kan sandiri nyat
ni la yuna wallet o si muna fanno tulo yabo mano kandrin en fen jama isi sanno la yuna wallet o kono yalla kamo soto ila wallet o kono
Tell you one thing, if Fab and me as an individual, if I know that there is somebody that I definitely wrong, I will be bold enough. I will go to the person. I will appeal to him and apologize him.
Hello and welcome to another edition of our show. It's another Thursday and we are back in the studio, of course, with our guests. If you have been following us today, we have constitutional lawyer Lamin Darboe. Lamin, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Fab.
And of course, we are going to have Mustapha Darboe from the Republic. The first part of the show, we'll be looking at some of the one of the big stories that he just did yesterday that is really trending on social media. Mustapha, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Now, first, let's look at the show. We'll be looking at a few things today. We'll be looking at the story Mustapha and the Republic did on the Fab Foundation. We'll also be looking at the contentious Judicial Bill 2024. We will be looking at the National Assembly Bill We'll be looking at the cybercrime. And of course, this morning, yesterday, the Minister of Lands issued a press release responding to Lawyer Darboe. When Darboe made that statement about the land allocation to the president, we looked at it here. So we're looking at all of these things as well. First, Mustapha, let's look at the story that you broke yesterday about the Fab Foundation, the First Lady's Foundation. They bought a container that was earmarked for the Ministry of Health. It was a donation worth over $468,000, but it was sold to the Fab Foundation for $200,000, and no traces of it being donated to the ministry. And in the story, it also revealed that the ministry had gotten the documents for them to clear it from the clearing agent, but which for 90,000, which they never did. 60,000, which they never did. Now tell us, what exactly did you find out, and what really happened? How could we not? The ministry, government is, GRA is a parastatal under the Gambia government. Gambia government, Ministry of Health is under the Gambia government. How can GRA sell a container that belongs to the Gambia government?
It was strange to me. I mean, quite honestly, I personally also didn't have the time because I was in the middle of a major story which we are due to publish shortly. And, you know, these guys reach out. I've got a complaint about some guy reached out to complain. We've sent a container in the Gambia and we couldn't find it. And the Ministry of Health also couldn't find it. For me, that was strange. I mean, so I wasn't interested in doing it. And so when I sent some questions to a couple of people and I came to learn the container was auctioned. Now that was interesting to me. I said, well, now this is now strange. Belongs to the ministry. Gambia custom, everything they do is to raise money to do what? For the services of state. And a core among the services of state is to provide medical equipment and consumables to the health centers and hospitals. That's the core.
What is wrong with Mustapha's voice? They're telling me there's no sound in Mustapha's voice. Baba, are you checking it? They're telling me there's no voice on Mustapha. We can't hear. That's what we're getting. Charles, can you fix that, please?
Can you hear me? It's
okay. Go ahead.
Maybe I'm not loud enough.
Okay. Okay, go ahead now. Let's see. King Eso, let me know if you're getting Mustapha loud and clear, please, and put it in the comment.
So just to begin the story,
please,
and so when I heard about that the container was sent from Ministry of Health, and the charity was going all over the place. They couldn't find anything. They even paid someone to find out something. I mean, we had not necessarily paid, but compensated someone to go and inquire what happened. They didn't have answers. And so when they came to me to tell me this, it was strange. And how can a container be sent to Ministry of Health? And a permanent secretary who is the second in command in the cadre of decision making cannot clear a container. He is a phone call away from the Director General of GRA. It's ridiculous. You know, and so I didn't understand that. So I said, look, let me find out. So I told them, let me find out. But for me, it was a pastime thing, like I said, because we are doing a major story and it's due to be published. So I was too preoccupied with it. So I sent a question to a few people and they told me, it was auctioned on this day. So I saw the gazette and I saw the auction date and I saw it was sold to this particular, so I saw the receipt numbers and all. I said, wow, it was auctioned and Fab Foundation bought it. And I said, well, why did so for me, before I got to Fab side, and I asked, why did custom do that? Why would custom auction a container that was meant for Ministry of Health? What's the point? And a few things are fundamental and in fact, in their own act, it's clear that if you check Section 58 of Custom and Excise Act, says that there are certain things that are exempted from auction. Which is charity, medical consumables or donations that are brought in by charities, things that aid agencies bring in, charitable products that aid agencies brings in, government, things that are imported by government into the country. And so, of course, there is an exemption that, except with written approval given by the Commissioner General. And so when I started asking, I realized at GRA everybody is squat on information. Like, even my usual contacts, nobody is interested in talking about this subject. And so I went back to the chat, and one of them told me, well, they said it was auction. We also had that in the rumor, but we don't know who bought it. The contact we had they said it's auction, and the person who bought it is confidential. Now I'm interested. Okay. Because, I mean, why would it be confidential? Okay. Yeah, so I said, okay, look, we will find out. So like I said, it was a pastime thing. And so I made some contacts, and I came to verify that it was auction. It was auction to Fab Foundation. And I reached out to a staff at Fab. This is a lower level staff. And the person told so the person told me, okay, I'm coming back at you. But in my interaction, it's clear the person was not aware about this auction. So that means it's not an organizational, it doesn't seem to be a mainstream organizational decision. Because if it was a mainstream organizational decision, a staff would have been aware. Yes. And the staff would have told me that. So he was very upfront and, okay, I will come back to you. But then when he came back to me, he said, I cannot have a conversation on this. Said I cannot have a conversation on this. So now I was interested, even more interested. Because, I mean, it's so something is wrong here. I mean, something is going, and that someone just doesn't want me to know. I said, well, we can't have this conversation. And so I came to verify everything until I'm done that, yes, it's clear, Fab bought it. And so I reached out to the CEO, and the CEO said, no, well, we didn't buy it. Somebody bought it and donated to us. And I said, so when did you donate it? And to whom did you donate it to? And they said they donated to Central Medical Store. And she couldn't tell me the time. She said she was on maternity leave at the time of this donation. And so I said, okay, so I'll go to Central Medical Store and confirm. So I went to Central Medical Store, but they seem to be too preoccupied with other things than giving you answers. Subject. But like I said, the interesting thing is Central Medical Store is Ministry of Health. Yes. And the charity is claiming Ministry of Health was aware. But the same Ministry of Health is searching for this container and the content of the container. Literally, we all know container moves. In fact, while I was doing this, I know the container number. So and container, there are tons of, you cannot even count how many open source data is available to track any container, so long as you know the name. So the content, I know container has moved, but the content of the container is what people are talking about. So the staff at the Ministry of Health, who was part of those who were at some point asked to find out about this container and the content of the container, actually works at Central Medical Store. Is one of the few people who would know about a donation. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Now this is strange. So I mean, and the fact that the fact that they are telling me when I go there, they're telling me, we need to go through this list to find out whether but Fab made a lot of donations, yes, but we need to go through our list. But a donation of that magnitude, we have seen when Fab donates to medical facilities, it is all over the Facebook. They make donations as less as $10,000 is public. Even when she gives food donation, they have done a lot of donations. Even the baby, the first lady babies and everything, they put it on their page. But if you're making a donation worth over $400 and something thousand, wouldn't that be interesting
thing to have it on their page if it was actually donated.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. It's a charity. Charity uses its good work to raise money. Charities don't make donations in secret, regardless of how prompt they claim it was.
One thing
and also another interesting thing is that it's not every day that Ministry of Health or Central Medical Store gets a donation. A donation the size of this. While I was Googling some of the donations, all the donations FAB has done since its founding, I came to realize one of the highest donations they've made to Central Medical Store is capped at $500,000. Whether it was the Chinese donation through FAB to Central Medical Store during COVID in 2021, or the one through an Ireland, an Irish charity. This was covered on Kerr Fatou, the Standard, and other places. There are a substantial number of donations that were made by FAB. And all of these are public. Now, what is strange is for Central Medical Store pharmaceutical director not to recall a substantial donation of that magnitude. It's 10 months away. If it had happened, you don't need a list.
But the interesting thing also that the FAB people did not know who made that donation to them. Did they actually know? But did they tell you that?
No. They just said that this is a generous donation, so I just needed to go to custom. But they knew, custom is a regimented, it's like a quasi-military institution.
Yes.
It's not just that they wear a uniform, they act like it. It's everyone. So at custom they squat, everyone. I mean, even my usual contacts, it's sensitive. Everybody, like they said, it's sensitive. So something is happening. No one wants anyone to know. Even this one to get. How is it possible? Ministry of Health has written to Ministry of Health. I sat at the Ministry of Health. I sat with very senior people at the ministry. I'm not sure they will deny that. And they told me they wrote to GRA since March. They didn't get a reply.
From GRA?
No.
But they also wrote to Ministry of Finance for clearance.
They didn't get a reply.
They didn't get a reply.
And of course, I've confirmed that because I went to GRA tax office. It's easy. Everyone knows where demurrage, duty waivers and all that are issued. You go to Ministry of Finance, you can verify. Now, all that, it's strange all over the place. So it's, so I try to avoid an opinion in a matter like this. But it's totally strange. And the most important thing is, donations, not only are they published, they also get pictures.
There
are no pictures. They also get mentioned, in like Fab was just launched. And there were a list of activities that they, So and the launch was just in May. This was in August. So now I'm seeing things online by an anonymous person with a list that appears to be AI generated press release. I saw it. It's very flashy. If you can verify it, it's likely an AI generated press release. And where it's saying, well, it was received and it was promptly donated. But charities don't do that. Charities don't promptly donate and without a picture. That's ridiculous, especially when you are under no pressure to accommodate any deadline. This is not a situation like that. It's not like you are under pressure to donate and so it's strange all over the place. And now the task is to find the container. The task is to find the content. It should be easy to verify.
One thing you also wrote in the story is the Commissioner of Customs, Alajimbai, who is also a member of a board member of Fab Foundation.
GRA has 2 staff who are board members of
Fab Foundation.
Should it have happened? I don't think so. I mean, in fact, when they released their board members, somebody reached out to me and said, I think you guys need to do a story on it. I mean, I don't have that time. I don't have all the time in the world to do all these stories. I mean, but quite frankly, I mean, this is a charity and it's a foundation owned by the president's wife. And having a state institution, a public servant, being a board member, I mean, there are a lot of questions that were raised. But for me, I don't have time to answer all the questions or to write all the things. There is constraint in human and material resources, so.
But the fact that this container is valued over 460, which about around $30 million, and it was sold at 200,000.
Yeah, for me, that's even not the worst decision to make. The thing is now,
where are the medical items?
There's a question mark over what happened.
What happened to the
whether
medical?
It was for profit, and this is likely. If you
are you thinking that it was sold instead of being donated? Is that a scenario? If it's not at the medical store,
bet 100%.
If it's not at the medical store, where are they?
This was. I mean, look, Father. I mean, it's clear. What is anybody keeping secret?
If it was donated.
If Fab received it and went and donated, and it's transparently done, and it's donated, what is there for GRA to squat on? What is
there to hide?
Yeah. I've spoken to a lot of people in GRA, and they told me, look, more on you after Diamo Nadasiar. Yeah, they told me Diamo Besiar in Ireland. So they know what happened. Even though folks are not willing to talk now, they know, Kenyan Diamo Seattle. So they know it's not true. It's not true. I mean, if it is true, we are competent enough. Show us, let's verify. Every equipment has code. It has serial numbers. Yeah? It has serial numbers. So people where you take it to. And they will go and verify. If it's donated to Central Medical Store, there should be traces of this. There should have been pictures of the presentation. There should have been a formal presentation. Have $1 million. So there were formal presentations of all such events. How could this one be the exception? With all the question mark rating over it. It's not true. If someone finds it, and I hope someday and very soon we do, you will find it was sold. Yeah, I mean, that's my best professional opinion. It's for profit. That's what I think.
That's what you think. Mr. Darboe, now, foundations, I mean, I raised this here some time ago when the Fab Foundation was launched. And, the philanthropists pledged $1 million. And I said, you know what, now is the time for us to look at this foundation. The First Lady, when she was a private citizen, we never cared because she was a private citizen. But today she's the president's wife. The foundation raises funds on behalf of the Gambian people. Now, if you are raising funds on behalf of the Gambian people, should there be some form of accountability? Should we have activity report? Should we have financial statement as to what operations, where donated items are being used for? Should we have some kind of transparency within the foundation as the public?
Yes, especially considering the location of this particular foundation. Mm-hmm. The president's wife, obviously, it raises questions as to whether First Ladies, Second Ladies should be involved in foundations. Yes, because people, business people, so-called investors and all that. Obviously, if you want to get a quick access to decision makers, if you have access to the First Lady, that shouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's not that there is any corruption or anything that we need to prove. Just on the face of it, it's inappropriate. Yes. So people should stay away from these kinds of things. Yeah.
Now let's look at another thing that is trending today. It is the response from the Minister of Lands. The UDP leader a few weeks ago raised questions about the land that was allocated to the president for personal use. The question that he raised was, is it true that this land was allocated to the president? He also raised questions about the former minister, the issue of the former minister, investigations about that they said they were doing it. And the minister did respond to that in his press conference. But yesterday they issued a press release about the questions that were raised. The minister said, he confirmed that yes, the president was allocated land, the said land, but he also said, well, Mr. Darboe himself was allocated such land during Jawara's time, and his family members were allocated recently. So he also brought in that. Now, what this shows, the confirmation that the president was allocated land. Now, as a legal person yourself, I'm not sure if I'm right, but I had experts from local governments here a few weeks ago, and they said in the Local Government Act, a person who has one lease property or just freehold land is not entitled to allocation. Is this right?
Well, I am not sure about that particular provision, but what is happening here really is I've not seen the provision, but I have heard it myself.
Yeah, it's a
Once you are allocated land by the government, you cannot be allocated another piece of land.
Yeah.
Of course, at the Ministry of Lands, they hide everything.
Yeah.
They hide everything. The Department of Lands, the Department of Physical Planning, I call them the twin evils.
The twin evils?
Of the ministry. Yes.
Physical planning and lands.
Yes, I wrote an article on that. You take people's lands without process, due process of law, and then you go and sell it under the guise of allocating it. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
But on this particular point, you know, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly did say that, yes, the President, like any Gambian, was allocated the land.
Yeah.
So we got the confirmation even before the Minister of Lands came yesterday to give us his take on the whole thing. So the Minister also confirmed it. The question is a little complicated. They said the particular land belongs to the judiciary.
Yeah.
In other words, maybe it's a
official residence of the Chief Justice. It should be, yeah.
Yes. So I'm not sure where the land itself is located. I know it is on the coast. I've seen the works there.
Going towards the U.S. Embassy,
right.
UK Embassy, yes.
Okay, but the type of lands that they allocate is usually 20 by 25. Now, is that the size of land we are dealing with here?
No.
Because a presidential home obviously would have to be far, far bigger than 20 by 25. Yes. So maybe there would have been ways to go about doing this rather than to say we allocated it to the president. That does not make sense. And they shouldn't come out and give us these explanations about, like any Gambian, the president is entitled to be allocated, apply and be allocated land.
Yeah.
The president is not just any
Gambian.
Yes. He doesn't need that kind of allocation. However, if because of the location and other things, I can understand that. But can you meet the ethical thresholds for that kind of allocation to the president? Yes. Where is the mandate? Is that land that is on the market to be allocated? If it belongs to the judiciary.
This was a lease property. Yes. It's a leased land that belongs to the judiciary. The minister's justification was it was never occupied. Now, and somebody said to me, but who's supposed to build that? Is it not the same government? This is the property of the government. Normally, it is 8 states that are allocated. The president and the ministers were allocated land at the Bruford Heights. But we were told the president has written to say he wants to return that one and have this other property be allocated to him. But this is a lease property, because normally it is the estates that they create and that is what they allocate to citizens. Is it the president different here for him to be allocated leased land instead of just a normal estate? Is that, what do you think?
Well, on the facts that are available to us, and of course, the government did not clarify whether this was the Chief Justice's residence or not. If it was, I probably can agree that it has not been occupied for some time now.
Yeah.
Yes, but that is not the issue. The issue is whether it should be allocated to the president. Yes, this side of his government, he's still the president of the republic.
Yeah.
So he's not like a retired head of state. You give him something to build a home. We want our ex-presidents to be comfortable.
To be comfortable.
Yes, obviously, there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And of course, if the president lives
by the
in
sea,
a parrot, he probably wants to remain on the same coastline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, it's not proper and it cannot be justified. Yes, I'm not going to attach any other epithets to it, but I can say it is not justified and it shouldn't have happened. If it was going to happen, it needs to go through more rigorous processes. Yes, than just to take it and allocate it to the president. Yes.
Mustapha?
There appears to be a tendency in the Gambia. You know, I was talking to a colleague of mine some time ago, and he's also an advocate, and we're talking about privileges that are accorded to public officers in the Gambia. And I said, well, the higher you go up, the more access to more privilege you have.
Yeah.
And they accumulate a lot of things, including land, including a lot of resources, whether it was under Jame or under Barrow.
Yeah.
They give a lot of land. They go to premium locations like here behind Brookwood Heights, where land could fetch you around 20 million or 25 million or something like that. They allocate land to them there and all of that. And for me, my problem is that this economy is not working for everyone, and the problem is in the design itself. It should force to work with everyone, for everyone, before it works for anyone. And so that is to say that the national cake cannot just be made available to people on top. You know, so the president, yes, the president's privileges are justified. Not because the president has the access to take whatever he wants, but because the president is the president of the republic. So the president is the primary distributor of commonwealth. And so that president is first duty bound to hand over a cup of water to the last man who is thirsty before he himself quenches his thirst. That's the morals of leadership. Now, you can't go about, because you are public officers, once you get ministers, you say ministers need to be comfortable. This kind of sentiment, and it plays even into the minds of the common folks who should be pissed about this. I mean, I've had an experience with someone who says, no, you know, ministers, presidents everywhere need to be comfortable. And I said, look, we can pay public officers however high we want. We can give them however benefits we want. But under this current arrangement, why are we giving it to them? What have they done? They have failed to make an economy work for everyone.
Something, you just said something, the minister said something today that is very interesting, the Minister of Lands. He said they cannot give lands to people that cannot develop it. You know what that means? They cannot give land to me and you, the ordinary folks, the farmer out there, because they cannot develop it.
But if you...
It's only the 10% of the population who can develop land in this country. Now, if you are telling me the one who is supposed to allocate land to us is telling us they cannot give to people that are not... How is that an equitable way of sharing?
That's a very narrow-minded, elitist view. I mean, so for example... if you look at poverty in a broader scale in the Gambia, poverty in this country is a decision made by our government. It's not a decision everyone make. It's a decision the government made. The folks are made poor by government. I mean, take for example a case of a farmer who goes to farm for 6 months every day. He, like Beres would say, he breaks his back for an overtime dollar. I mean, he goes to farm, makes, has his groundnut farm, has his kush farm, has his maize farm, and all of this rice and but the prevailing circumstances have made agriculture, disincentivize agriculture, makes agriculture pay very less. Would you say that person is not ambitious, is not hardworking? No. He's hardworking. He's doing what he thinks is possible to earn a living. But the prevailing circumstances have made agriculture less lucrative, that he couldn't earn a living. I said it one time, that the biggest lie in this country is to tell people hard work pays. No, hard work doesn't pay in this country. There are folks who are working hard. They're doing what they're supposed to do, but the economy is not paying them. There are folks who currently are complete burden on this economy. They are called advisors. They are driving a 12 million Parado. What hard have they worked?
Nothing.
How hard have they worked? Nothing. They've done nothing. Here you can praise a president, push him, you get a plot of land at Bruford Heights.
Yeah.
You do nothing. I've known some guy who who is just, some of these guys just connection, push them, they get an allocation at the TDA. Connection, simple connection. People have made millions, they've done nothing. They are as useless as they come. The total burden on the economy, zero productivity. And they just get they just get millions. So if you are telling me hard work pays, where? Hard work doesn't pay here. You have to build an equitable economy, an economy that puts food on everyone's table, before you can consider yourself deserving of this kind of privileges that authorities are claiming. Barrow deserves no privilege at all. Because when Barrow came to power, the poverty level in this country was 48%. Today is 53. Like almost 6 in every 10 Gambian you pass on the road cannot afford a food below $2 a day. That's like $150. Sit down, go home. Your cash, your AC takes more than $150 a day.
Stop it.
No, it's true. I mean, your AC
that's
takes
my
more
fish money, $150.
$150. Your AC takes more than $150. Your AC in your vehicle takes $150. More than $150.
Why are you giving me an example? Let's talk about Barrow's
you
budget.
You should be guilty as everyone
Let's talk
else.
about Barrow and Depanso. Just not my budget.
No, look at it. This country has become poorer today than it was 10 years ago, than it was 5 years ago. So you can't be claiming benefits are tied to performance. So when you come, deliver, there are terms of reference, even for a president. Deliver that first. Then when the economy works for everybody, we can pay a president to have $1 million a month, or maybe $1 million a month. But the economy has to be right to be able to accommodate that huge payment. Yeah. So from one time I was talking to some guy and I said, I don't even know why we should pay a president 255 or 1,000 or
You basically pay for everything.
Yeah. And why would a president not even pay tax? And this expression, president needs to be comfortable, as though president is a baby. Yeah. President is not better than you and I. He struggles for daily bread like we do. Yes. No, I mean what I'm saying is that he has the same responsibility like we do. And you can say, no, presidents, people have access to resources, you need to pay them. No, don't bring an American situation and plant it here. It's lack of reasoning. Because America was built over a period of hundreds of, at least close to 200 years. You don't bring an American situation.
But even in the US, the president of the United States pays for his own food.
And I think they pay tax too.
They pay for their own food, yes.
Exactly. So if you look at a situation like that, I mean, here you say, no, privilege, and they even say, no, we have to do this, otherwise they go and steal. And my experience has been, it's ridiculous to say that, when people have less salary, they steal. No, it's not true. People steal because they are indignified. That's the only reason. I mean, the people we investigate, they earn 10 times more than me. Whether it was my salary at Malagan and now. And how are we able to investigate and publish their story? How could they not stop it? Why could they not stop it? If it is earning higher, that is why they would take money. Why couldn't they stop us from publishing their stories? So it's not true. People steal because they want to steal. People don't steal because they have less amount of resources. And my experience, when I was earning back in the day when I started journalism, when I was earning few thousand, like let's say for example, $3,500. The same way you get broke, is the same way you get broke when you earn $35,000 a month.
Yeah.
Expenditure is, you get excess only when you plan your expenditure.
Yeah.
Not how high you earned. You see. So we cannot be encouraging primitive accumulation of wealth. People spending appetite. You send your children to private schools. Is that our business? Why would you do it? If you cannot afford it, don't do it. Don't take your people to private hospitals when you can't afford it. And this kind of privileges have to be reduced. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Mr. Darboe, now let's look at the elephant, the big issue right now in the country, the Judiciary Bill 2024. Now, this bill was brought in 2023. It was thrown out. And then I believe largely it was because of the public outcry. And the National Assembly members thought, honestly, it was not reasonable. Again, the minister has brought in the bill. First, somebody did a comparison for me on the last 2023 and the 2024 bill. And it's just like playing around with words and changing few things. For example, I think I just want to go through these few things that, caught my eye. Let me just go through that. In 2023, let me see, go through, yeah, this is it. Oh, hold on, let me see. Okay, it's here. It says this. The difference, the 2023 bill provides a lump sum payment to the surviving spouse equal to half of the judge's yearly salary at the time of their death. But this current bill provides a lump sum payment to the judge estate to the full year of total emoluments at the time of their death. The pension calculation, 2023 bill states that the Chief Justice receives a pension equal to the last salary if they have served for 5 years. Other judges get full salary pensions after 10 years or 3/4 of the last salary if they serve for less than 10 years, but more for 5 years. But this current one specifies that the Chief Justice receives a pension equal to the total emoluments. Judges retiring at 65 gets 50%. At 70 they get 75%. At 75 they get 100%. All after serving 10 years, judges retiring at early age grounds receive prescribed by the JCS. 2023, the JCS submit a report to the President for approval. That is for their salaries. But in this one, it says that similar process, but the detailed provision of the factor to be considered during the inquiry, e.g. economic conditions, role of the judiciary officers need attract understanding candidates, level of to be paid to non-judicial service, This bill 2023 says exempt allowances of judiciary from income tax. That same is maintained. Health and accidental insurance, provide insurance cover in line with the national health insurance policy. Similar provisions detail condition for the specified period. So provides adequate security for judges for lifetime. Also, I think it says, for example, if the Chief Justice retires at 75, they get their salary 100% for life. Is that so? Is that what is in this bill? What does this bill really say? Because there are a lot of confusions. The ministry is saying they are not increasing the salaries. Other people are saying they're increasing the salaries. Other people are saying, no, they are not increasing. But, for example, someone said to me before, the president appointed the Judicial Service Commission, and the Judicial Service Commission looks at the salaries of judges and then send it to the president. And the president makes recommendations and send it to the National Assembly for approval. But if this bill is approved, that process will not happen. The process is going to be the Judicial Service Commission recommends a salary for judicial officers, send it to the president for approval. It will not go to the National Assembly. This is what someone told me.
Well, it's the judicial budget.
Yeah.
That is submitted to the president.
Yeah.
But the president does nothing with it.
Yeah.
According to the law, he shouldn't do anything with it. He should just send it to the National Assembly. To decide.
Yeah.
So this one, they call it emoluments. Yeah. So the 2023 and the 2024 are basically the same. It's called Judicial Officers, Remuneration and Other Entitlements Bill.
Yeah.
2024. The 2023 is the same title.
Okay.
That one is just 2023.
Okay.
If you look at the sections, 2023 is how many sections? 2023 is 31 sections, and 2024 is 29 sections. So really, it's the same bill.
It's the same bill.
Yeah, it's the same bill that came back. Maybe this time it will have a different fate in the National Assembly.
Why do you think so?
Well, it's not a straightforward bill. You need to look at it carefully. And you need to ask yourself critical questions. After the failure of the 2023 one, I believe the judiciary met with some members of the National Assembly to discuss. I mean, that is not prohibited. You've been in the United States.
Yes,
it's called lobbying.
Yes.
So you try to sell to the lawmakers that, you know, this is actually not as bad as you think. So you make it all sound nice. You know, personal engagement and engaging from a distance are different. Yes. So if you do that, members of the two branches of government mingling together, you make friendships and things like that. So then you soften the lawmakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that has happened.
Yeah, that had happened.
Yeah.
But I remembered when this came in August, September last year, I was in the UK. I contacted the minister.
AG.
Yes, I sent him a text message to say that you needed a constitutional amendment before you can put this bill before the National Assembly. Yes, you know, I said because the judges, according to Section 166 of the Constitution, are public servants. Now, public servants means like everybody else in the civil service. Yes. So judges been made public servants. I'm not sure about that myself. It's a very important arm of government. If you say the ministers and the members of the National Assembly are not public servants, maybe you shouldn't make judges public servants too.
Yeah.
If they are not public servants, we probably wouldn't have to deal with some of the issues that people are raising now, because they could say, well, these people are taken out of the public service.
Yeah.
Yes. But you need to, what we do here is not follow governance properly. And so this was the reason why I'm opposed to bulky constitutions.
Yeah.
Because even the custodians, as far as the government is concerned, of the Constitution, you know, I mean, in administrative terms, that would be the Attorney General's chambers.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you know, but you know, do they have time to go through this bulky constitution?
No.
They're full of conflicts.
Yeah.
Yeah. The constitutions are full of conflicts, you know. So, but if you make judges public servants, teachers are public servants, doctors, nurses are all public servants, as long as they are paid out of the consolidated fund. Yes. So, if you do not change the Constitution, you are discriminating against other public servants. Section 33 of the Constitution says you cannot do that. And that is what is happening here.
Now, can you explain that better? If you don't do a constitutional amendment
Yes.
to change judges from being public servants and to something else, you are discriminating against other public servants because you are giving them a better pay scale or pension benefits than others.
Well,
That is
pay scale, like I said,
Yeah.
you know, if you say it's a special category
special
of
category.
public servant,
Yeah.
maybe some people would not even accept that.
Yeah.
But yes, the pay scale, I have no problem
With that, yes.
the security, other things. They are all acceptable. It's
Yeah.
in keeping with maintaining the dignity of the judicial officers.
Yeah.
Yes. But if you come to pensions, to say that a judge who retired should receive the same monthly salary as a judge in service, that is difficult to take.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't understand that. Yeah. You know, so when people say, you know, this is, we are even less charitable to our judges than judges in other jurisdictions within the sub-region and things like that. Bring us the evidence. Show us how much judges in those jurisdictions that you are mentioning have been paid. So you attach some credibility to your claims.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise these things are difficult to justify. The way they come. But what surprises me, again, coming back to these bulky, nonsensical constitutions or draft constitutions, you know, this was in the Constitution. If the Constitution had passed, we wouldn't be talking about this because it would have been in the Constitution.
It would have been there.
Yes. The Constitution failed. And some who believe that 2020 monstrosity they call, you know, heavenly sent was brilliant.
A lot of us blamed you, though.
No.
For the failure of that constitution.
No, I didn't
From the beginning, you were the first to raise all the objections against that constitution.
Right, but what I'm saying, the constitution is too bulky.
Okay.
But if today you are saying, I don't like this judicial officers' remuneration
bill
and other entitlements bill. Well, you supported the Constitution. This was lifted out of the Constitution. Yeah, it was lifted out of that same Constitution. So had it passed, it would have been a big problem. Constitutions are not easily amended, especially if this provision is entrenched. Yeah. So this is the problem. You oppose the bill now, but you supported the draft constitution that embedded everything that is in this bill. Yes. You know, I believe it was preferential treatment. I believe the time I used was exceptionalism. We don't want that in our public life. But if you want to create that for judges, by all means, if you feel they are doing an excellent job, and obviously the judiciary has improved tremendously, especially the superior courts, including the Supreme Court, delivered landmark decisions, landmark in the sense that presidents would be very careful with National Assembly members. Now it is absolutely clear that you cannot dismiss National Assembly members even if they are nominated. Yes. So if those are departmental demarcations, if you cannot do it to a National Assembly member, you cannot do it to a judge.
Yeah.
Yes, like it used to happen. So yes, the courts have delivered great decisions, but we need to bring the country together. You need to bring the country along. Even if the National Assembly accepted this because of the lobbying and other things, the public is not in on it as yet.
No.
Yes, they are not convinced that this kind of monies should be paid to the judges. We need a baseline. So, for example, we're not given any figures. So do you know how much a High Court judge is paid?
No.
Do you know how a judge, a justice of the Court of Appeal is paid?
No.
Do you know how much a justice of the Supreme Court is paid?
No.
So give us the baseline. Give the public the baseline so that
they have an idea.
It understands properly what you are proposing, whether the country can accommodate that. Because as time goes on, you know, we're going to have a lot of retired judges. As much retired judges maybe as serving judges. Yes. Can the economy accommodate that? Maybe we can. As time goes on, if we discover oil and other things.
Well, now we haven't. But right now we haven't discovered. One thing also that a lot of people are also, I mean, magistrate friend said to me before I was coming, it's like the interesting thing is nobody is talking about us being excluded in this bill.
Well,
the magistrates...
They talked about the magistrate. I think they even issued a press release the last time.
Yes.
They are not included in this bill.
Well, that is true. It's not that nobody is talking about it. I was busy. I wanted to write about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Because if you look at the objects, if you go to the very end of this, you look at the objects, the objects talk just about judges. Attracting capacity, you know, promoting the rule of law, security, we need to do this and this and this for judges. That's fine. Call it, if you want to do that, call it Judges' Remuneration and Other Entitlements Bill. Because if you say judicial officers, that has a meaning. Yes. According to the Constitution, judicial officers are judges of the superior courts, registrars, assistant registrars, magistrates. All of them
are judicial
officers. So the section says judicial officers and other staff of the courts. That is what that section says. There is nothing here about magistrates. Yes. In fact, I saw them, the bill includes the judicial secretary. The judicial secretary is an administrator. He's not a judicial officer. He shouldn't be there. Yes. The sheriff is included, but according to the Constitution, the sheriff is not one of the designated judicial officers. Yes. You know, but the sheriff is included. But read the whole thing, and then you'll begin to understand that this is not about other judicial officers. It is about judges. Yes. Okay, some magistrates are never going to make it
To the
superior bench.
bench, yeah.
They will never be high court judges.
Yeah.
They will never be.
That was the argument. Most of all magistrates end up being judges. So if they did not include the magistrates in this bill, it's because they will end up being judges.
No, not at all. I mean, some magistrates will retire as magistrates. No, they will not end up on the superior bench.
Okay.
Yes, not everybody is suitable for the superior bench.
Yeah.
Maybe you can be a magistrate, but at the end of the day, they have to look at certain things and decide whether you are suitable for elevation to the superior courts. Yes. So they are not going to be there. There is nothing. They are, it says judicial officers and magistrates are judicial officers according to the Constitution. But there's nothing in this bill about them.
Welcome back to the show. We apologize for that break in transmission. We're dealing with serious power issues since in the morning, and of course, the machines. Now, Mustapha, we were talking about how the population is feeling about this bill. Now, we are all in for public officials having pension service schemes, and this is why we wanted a reform. We wanted a reform of our institutions. When this government came, the first thing, one of the things that they campaigned on in 2026 was reform, civil service reforms, security reforms. If we have had a proper reform, we would have had our salary scales being reformed properly, so that when we increase or create pension schemes for public officials, we know people have different responsibilities, and of course people's positions are different. But if at this point, if we're taking care of ex-presidents, we're taking care of National Assembly members, we're taking care of ministers and others, and we're also now trying to take care of judges. We are not looking at the magistrates, we're not looking at the police, we're not looking at teachers, the farmer and other people. At some point, it's going to look like, they're just taking care of themselves. And what about us? And it seems like that is what is the feeling is right now.
Absolutely. And I think it's justified. That is what I began by saying, that the very essence of forming a government by the people is to ensure their own comfort.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they formed the government. And government, people came together and say, look, let's find an institution that is going to be able to harness and mobilize resources for our collective comfort. So the people who are in government, the people we call public servants, are the people who are now put in charge to harness those resources and provide it for public comfort. So it's not, if public is thinking about the comfort of the worker should also think about the dividend for the comfort of the person who hires the worker.
Yeah.
And in the Gambia, it's a reverse. I mean, the people who hires are detached from the government. They no longer think of it as a collective investment, because that's what government is. And so, and that's where the bigger, much bigger problem is. I mean, we don't have the people who have hired the government, they're not serviced. I mean, you look at the streets of this country, it's absolute poverty. And you wonder, does this government have a moral justification to be catering for luxury? I'm not saying for essentials of a public work, but for luxury. And one of the things I have found working on corruption in the Gambia is that Gambia has two problems. It has corruption problem, but it also has a waste problem. And these two things are different. There are a lot of things that are being catered for that are mere luxury. The total waste, like, so for example, you can buy an official vehicle that is going to be efficient enough to take a public officer to work.
Yeah.
For let's say $1 million.
Yeah.
You choose to buy it for 12 million, or you choose to buy it for 6 million, or you choose to buy it for 3 million, where you could have bought it for a far lesser, and maximize their efficiency and make sure also that it's not luxury that people are paying for. So these things need to be looked into. And the other issue is that reform should be all encompassing. So from the grassroots up, because it's as those government, they said no, people need to be paid well. Yes, people need to be paid well. But we're not saying minister needs to be paid well. You said people needs to be paid well. That's true. And that's why the cleaner also needs to be paid well. So you can imagine if a cleaner is paid $3,500, I'm being charitable, $3,500. It's not a miracle that person shows up at work every day. It's a miracle. Now, if mere government is going to increase salaries, they should have looked at how can a minister be paid over 200,000 plus, or 200,000, 185, or something like that, and the cleaner who is working under him is paid, let's say, 1,800, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500. That doesn't make sense. You look at a minister, and you look at, often people say, no, but look at Senegal. No, it's a wrong comparison.
Yeah.
Every problem, analyzing of every issue needs a context. The context in this country is not Senegalese public officers whose salaries are being increased. So don't take people there. It's Gambian public officers. So you have to analyze that salary within the context of the Gambian economy. You don't take people to Senegal. Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. The economies are not the same.
Yes, the people are not the same. Why are we even talking about another country?
Yeah.
Now, you look at those realities and you look at the disparity. And so and at some point you realize we are paying for luxury. Quite frankly, I mean, if you go home with $100,000 in this country, you should be extremely happy with it.
Yeah.
Now, quite frankly, in a country where half of the people cannot afford $2 plus a day, if you go home with 100, you should be extremely excited. Yeah. Regardless of who you are. I mean, because if you said public service, like I said, people do not become, and this is also a problem with dedicated folks, the mindset of dedicated person. I go to school to live a comfortable life. No, education is primarily for problem solving. People go to school to solve problems of their societies. They don't go to school so that they become the Lord and govern the rest of the society. People don't go to school for that. I mean, in any progressive society, people do not go to school to come and become the master in the neighborhood. They go to school to come and solve the problem in the neighborhood, because education is man's understanding of his own environment and the solutions for complex problems in his environment. So if you go to school to become a judge, you don't go to school to become the richest guy in the neighborhood or to come and be driving a Bentley. I think you go to school to solve your problems, the problems of your society. Personally, I would be comfortable with enough to live on and be happy that my neighbor is not coming to my house for food because he has food in his house. If we settle for that, we build the economy from that point of view. And then when we get to a place where the economy is buoyant, the judge can say, I think now I need to drive a Bentley. And it will be totally moral to do so, because the economy can afford it. If we get to a point where the president is where everybody is able to put some food on the table, and this miserable situation is solved, because I mean, I was in a particular neighborhood where, I went there, where a public officer working in a particular institution was the one who supplies all of them water, and everybody is excited, and they were, and when I get to the neighborhood and I said, Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you hire this guy he's working in a public office. And you guys can't have water to drink. You have to go to a well to fetch water. Well, when one of the guys you hire is the one who is able to supply the entire neighborhood. But the state can't do it. And if you apply the same logic to even the president, Barrow has not become poorer. How comes the economy he is hired to manage becomes poorer? Look at that logic. If you hire someone, you hire that person as a TOR. So you hire a shopkeeper, and you travel to US and you come back and you find out the shopkeeper has been $10 million richer. But your shop is not making profit. Your shop is poorer. Like your shop is worse than you've left it. But the shopkeeper you've left in charge of the shop has become richer.
Yeah.
That's total irony. Because, I mean, look at Barrow. Barrow struggled to buy a car. He bartered his land for an Infinity. Cost him $400,000. I covered the presidential election. I mean, journalists, those of us who are in the independent media, we don't cover Jame because it doesn't need us. Jame has a policy allowing GRTS only, an observer. In fact, they arrested me one time at covering National Assembly, the state opening of the National Assembly. Terrible things did happen here. I went and stood. I put on my recorder and I put it in my pocket. And so these guys, they used to have this lengthy Hummer Jeep.
Yeah, Hummer Jeep. Yeah.
They have cameras everywhere, and this Hummer Jeep inside it has TV sets. So they watch people. When they see suspicious activity, they come. So I put on a recorder to capture Jame's statement and put it in my pocket. So they noticed and they come and take me to the sites. They deleted my recorder. But that's a side issue. But essentially what I'm trying to say is that and when Barrow came, I'm just trying to say I covered everything Barrow does. I was probably the last journalist who interviewed him in Brufut, the last meeting when he arrived. Probably the last interview. This was at night for Talking News Agency. Now, Barrow bartered an Infinity, cost him $400 for a
plot of land.
Yeah, for a plot of land. And Barrow now, in the last declaration, he declared 16 vehicles. But the economy he was hired to take care of became poor. I mean, by most indications, at least by poverty indications. I mean, you can build roads, yes, that's fine. But how many other friends of theirs have become rich by that also? I mean, so the people need to, and that's why I said in one of my Facebook posts, I said, politics is important. I mean, we need to have political parties and all of that. And this is important. We need to go into elections, democracy. All these things are important. But what's more important in a democracy is not political parties, not elections. It's the mindset of the people who establish the government. Those people must know the reason for which the government is established. And they must make sure that peace, everyone has peace or no one has peace. That is how Europe and America was developed. Until everyone has peace, no one will have peace. That's not incitement to violence. That is what the definition of democracy is. Peace for everyone. Or no one has peace. That means the cake for everyone, or no one has it. And that you see, it's that mindset. I mean, you go to Europe and you see the kind of. I mean, I went to this place. One time I was talking to some guy who says, people go and settle in the neighborhood where there is flood. In other advanced countries, people go and settle on the mountains. Yeah. And they make it habitable. European governments don't come and complain. Why do you guys go and sit on a mountain? This is a dangerous environmental area to live in. No, they make life habitable there. You can't even subdue a flood in a low-level land, a land that is like Igbo town. What kind of thinking is that? I mean, so people need to mobilize proper mindset. That's what we need. We have resources in the Gambia. What we don't have is the right mindset to make our public officers work. I mean, I've had folks reach out to me and say, look, this guy is a friend, yes. Yeah. But if you hire your friend to manage your SOP, you're going to be critical. You're not going to go to your friend's SOP and say, your SOP, your friend managing it, and say, well, because he's my friend, I'm okay with everything he does. No. So you can pay, yes, but let's be mindful of the collective wealth as well. So right now, what our judges and everybody is asking National Assembly members is luxury. It's luxury. I mean, 50,000 should be, 30,000 should even be enough to take care of their bills. If it's not, why are you taking the last person? Because they are not you. You are a private entity. You making your profit. If you want to put on your AC and leave it on and go and sleep, you make your profit based on your own. So this is your private wealth.
Yeah.
But this other one, we have taken upon ourselves to develop a public wealth. So however way we utilize that wealth has to be measured based on how much part of the cake the last guy has. So measure your benefits and look at how much the last person has. You see that even 50,000 is luxury.
Now, but Mustapha, Mr. Darboe, a lot of people say, I have two Darboes here, so when I say,
well, if you said Mr. Darboe.
When I say Mr. Darboe, a lot of people also say, though, judges, the cases of judges are different. The argument a lot of people are advancing, I even hear the president of the Bar Association say, judges cannot practice when they retire. They cannot do any other, they cannot engage in business or any other things when they retire. That is why they need to be comfortable. Their pension scheme should be good. Also, for example, to attract people in the profession, we want our judiciary to, we want to have more Gambian judges to be able to attract professional and good judges, more people to become judges, to be able to have you and other lawyers who are getting a lot of money if you are practicing privately. But if you're practicing privately and you make that kind of money, it's difficult to leave that to go and become a judge because the salaries and the pension scheme are not that attractive. So it's also another way, that is one argument that my Fati brought, it's another way of attracting more people to become judges so that we can have more Gambians in the judiciary. And also, judiciary is very important. Judges make very important decisions. Justice is very, very expensive and it's important. If judges are not properly paid, if they don't have good benefits, they can be easily corrupted. And that affects, people's lives and, and business and everything. So these are arguments that were forwarded by a lot of people that, yes, the judges should be paid good, at least to standards of the sub-region, and their benefits also should be really looked at because if they retire, they cannot profit, they cannot do any other work.
Who said that they cannot do any other
I think
work?
that's what I heard the president of the Bar Association said.
No.
No.
I mean, they can work.
They can work?
Yes.
Wow.
I've seen ex-judges who are doing other things. I mean, maybe under the bill, if it becomes an act.
Okay.
I have seen those provisions are there. Look, those arguments, I cannot quarrel with them. The judiciary is a very important arm of government.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's less than the number of judges. The judiciary is far less than the executive.
Yeah.
So there is no argument against taking care of judges. Nobody argues against that. Yes. But what people don't understand are the figures that have been bandied around.
Yeah.
If somebody says, okay, comparable to other judges in the
sub-region, yeah.
Well, why don't they supply the data so that we can look at it?
Yeah.
And see whether, in fact, those other jurisdictions are taking care of their judges more than in the Gambia. Yes, judges were earning a pittance during the Jammeh era. Yes, obviously. That was the nature of the government. But judges' salaries have gone up. You know, not everybody is cut out to be a judge. Because if you accept service on the bench, there are certain things you cannot do. So you have to make a decision. Do you want to be on the bench or don't you want to be there? But all these arguments, making judges comfortable, yes, it's a very dignified office. I am all for that. But call things by their names. This bill is about judges.
Yeah.
Okay, just say that so that we don't mislead each other. Yeah. Judicial officers, before you put judges there. If you go to the object, it's all about judges, attracting talent, promoting the rule of law, ensuring the security of judges. That is in the Constitution. The tenure of judges is secure. It's like the United States. You hold your position during good behavior.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have a problem, nobody comes after you. It's different from the Jammeh era. I cannot see anybody going after judges again.
No.
Yes, that would be very, very difficult. It's like reversing the gains that were made from 2017 up to now. And I didn't see it happening. I do not quarrel with those arguments.
Yeah.
But let us deal with the substance. Sit down and look at the constitutional provisions on judges. Look at this bill, yes, and see whether this bill should come before you effect a constitutional amendment, changing. Because Section 166(3) said, for the avoidance of doubt, judges, the position of judge is a position in the public service. How do you differentiate between two public servants? The National Assembly is different. They are not members of the public service. Yes. And so if you look at the amount of money that the National Assembly makes, if you take the Speaker as an example, you know, he makes, how much does he make a year? Over $15 million.
A year?
Yes. Sorry, over $15 million is $15 million is over the 5-year period.
Over the five-year period, yeah.
So after the 5-year period, 25% of the 15,300,000, the Speaker would go home, you know, after the end of that parliament, say after the end of this current parliament.
Yeah.
The Speaker will go home with almost $4 million, $3,825,000. That is 25% of his total earnings for this parliament. You take an ordinary National Assembly member. The annual gross is over 9 million. He goes home with 25% of that. So how much is that? 2,280,000. That is just the gratuity for that 5-year period.
For just the 5-year period?
Yes.
What happens if that person comes back again as a...
Again, every 5 years.
Every 5 years, that's what they get?
Well, at least.
At least.
Yeah, at least, because these things are going up.
Yeah. Okay.
So really, you know, we need to, these are difficult things to understand. I will support more money for judges, but since we don't know the baseline figures, you cannot just come and start preaching to us about judges need to be comfortable. I accept all of those arguments.
Yeah.
But I'm saying do it within the law and propriety. Governance is very significant. And in this country, we don't want governance. Yes. We don't want governance. People are supporting the draft constitution without reading it. It's a rubbish document. Yes. You know, it's too bulky. The contradictions are too many. People cannot figure them out.
And this was part of the draft?
Well, this was
Most
part
of the year.
No, every part
Everything.
of it, yes. It's part of the draft. Yes.
Now, Mr. Darboe, you know, a lot of people say, for me, my argument was, now, I am all in for every person, including the public officer, the nurse, the judge, anybody, to have a retirement package. And I think the judges should do. I don't know how, you know, like you said, we just need to know the numbers, and for the National Assembly to also look at what's reasonable, because they definitely need to have it. But I am also thinking the judge need to be equipped more on how they work. When you go to the courts, there should be reform in our judiciary. We all know that. We all go to the courts. There isn't proper record systems in the courts. You go to the courts, the judges, they write. Iba balafala jojo le nibe safero jojo ne magistrate. Ika safero ke. Yeah, type. You know, there's no proper record system in the courtrooms, and there is no. You go akakandile fo ibukale bekele nyami. Like the entire judiciary needs proper enhancement. Like the clerks, the magistrates' offices, and then, you know, and all of that. Make the judges' work environment comfortable. And that way, the judge will be able to sit for long hours to be able to educate cases, because justice delayed is justice denied. Gambia Kiti Kilongo, aka 10 years later. And I have said this, and we have seen a trend, especially in land cases. More bita dronga mola kenota reka wafi. Then ya samba kitiola. Because I'll not go kitio be 10 years later or 5 years. In the process, kono bate bulate tal doko kelamina. Case kilongo abe 10 years later. But because the environment in the courthouses and then Jojola working conditional, it really needs to be looked at. Neo ilak working conditional look at properly. Make it conducive from the High Court judge, from the Supreme Court High Court judge to the magistrates. That way, they can sit more hours and be able to look at cases. And then the ordinary Gambian like me and you will be able to have fair trial and speedy trial. Because speedy trial is important in justice. More than you mile too. Put a court date for us. And until and unless Justice Ministry will address, people will not look at this favorably. Because I think those things are also they are more important to people. Because near case school for every Gambian because he left the justice yetaria, he left a favorable, and dung Jojo Faneba Mako and Kala Doko Sonendai. But in Nima Woke, justice but delay la molie, what problem multi. Now, Ima will be addressed. There's no reforms in the judiciary. Me along ko be Jojo Mako le Doko Sonia, I better I taria, yetara condition betokon. Iko alga pension scheme of the day. So in the first place, I think is the Justice Ministry should look at the judiciary as an entirety and look at what needs to be done in the judiciary. Because it could have been proposed in this. If they would have been able to say, let's budget for a lump sum and take care of the courtrooms, take care of the judicial clerks, equip them with computers and all these things and make their work more effective and easy. That way, first, okay, this is part of the reform agenda. Courtrooms will be there. That's the first step to make judges comfortable, make their work environment comfortable. I am all in for that. First, because Jojo is the senior court 5 hours, 6 hours. Dulabe kandring. Abi tala fintilal. But in Dulabe cool suyaring, everything is confident. I computer also I feng also clerk also me along entries kila cool kila and makes a batin la case will betariala, a batin la workload betariala kuno mi bekela, and then I'll be comfortable la kala do okay. Near okay first, then we can look at this. For me, that is my argument. And I think a lot of people also share that.
Well, I believe that's true. Judges need to be, the courts.
The courts, yeah.
Yeah, need to be more comfortable. but there are times you'll go to courtrooms and there'll be no cash power.
Yeah.
So the environment is not conducive at all. Yes, I am all for equipping the judiciary to the highest possible level. Yes, and the judicial office also, I accept, really. It's a special office. It's different. Remember, we're talking about a branch of government here.
Yeah.
Yes. We're talking about a branch of government, like the National Assembly, like the executive, under the president and all of that. So I think the government should, in fact, the Constitution says the judiciary should be self-accounting.
It should be self-accounting.
But that's not the case. You take money and go and pay it to the consolidated fund. Go and pay it to the treasury and things like that. But anyway, about the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Justice is under the executive arm of government. So it has no mandate. It can collaborate with the judiciary, but it cannot manage the judiciary. That is not the mandate of the ministry. Yes.
So reforms, if there should be any reforms in the judiciary, where should that come from?
From the Office of the Chief Justice. He is the chief administrator of the judiciary, and the judicial secretary assists him. And of course, there are other.
So where is this bill coming from? Who prepares the entire the scale? For example, this is the pension. Who prepares this? And it's brought by the AG's chamber.
It's very, very clear. If you look at the back of it, it's Honorable Dauda A. Jallow, Attorney General, Minister of Justice. But that is because most of these bills are coming from the executive arm of government. If you look at the National Assembly bill, that is coming from the Ministry of Finance, from City Keita. Yes. So it's just a collaboration between the arms of government, but the bills would come from the Attorney General's chambers. But operational matters, obviously, the judiciary is self-governing. It takes no instructions. Ordinarily, it shouldn't take any instructions.
So it's the CJ who should, if any reforms, it should come from the CJ's office?
Well, he needs to collaborate with the executive, because the power that is available to the executive in terms of raising money and things like that, is much quicker than the power that would be available to the courts. So to the judiciary, even if it is self-governing, it's part of the state system. So operationally, it takes no instructions from anybody. Yeah, but when it comes to the budget and all that, you bargain with the government and all of that. So, but you are right, the working conditions should be improved. Then nobody can argue with that. Yes.
Now, let's look at the National Assembly.
Yes.
The Office of the Clerk issued a statement saying they are not increasing their salaries, they are not increasing anything. They're just, I don't know how he said it, but they argue. What is in that bill? What is exactly happening with the National Assembly bill?
Well, if you look at it carefully, the bill is 2024, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. National Assembly Salary and Pension Bill, 2024. True. Sometime last year, they increased their own salaries.
Somebody just told me the 1997 Constitution doesn't just what you said, doesn't prohibit judges from working even in legal fields after the bench. He said, so that is not true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So the National Assembly Salaries and Pensions Bill 2024, I believe they got these things already. I don't know why the bill is coming now. So really, for practical purposes, this bill would have no opposition.
Of course,
at all.
because it's there.
Yes, because if you look at their benefits, you know, the speaker's salary, annual salary, is 1,200,000.
Yeah.
Yes, his house rent is 480,000. His responsibility allowance is 360,000. His travel home to office, I guess that is fuel, you know, and maintenance and other things, 600,000. Roaming, 120,000. Telephone, 60,000. And professional, 240,000. So they are dancing.
That's about a 3 million. 2.980, almost 3 million.
No, it's more than how much is it? It's more than 3 million. It's more than, yeah, it's how much is it? Yeah, it's 3,280,000, something like
3,280,000.
Yeah.
And that is every year.
Every year. So if you multiply that by 5,
that's about
that is the life of the parliament.
Parliament, that's
that
5.
is 15,300,000.
Yeah.
So at the end of the parliament, if you are not coming back, whether you are coming back or not, when the parliament ends, you are entitled to a quota, 25% of your total emoluments. So for the speaker, that is 3,825,000 free money.
After serving for 5 years?
Yeah, after making 15,300,000 for 5 years. At the end of the 5 years, you have 3,825,000 bonus. It's a bonus.
Wow.
Called gratuity and whatever, but it's a bonus. So if you look at what is available to the ordinary
National Assembly member,
as a National Assembly member, because Speaker, Deputy Speaker is also there, but that is lower than the
Speaker.
That is far lower than the Speaker. So then, if you look at the ordinary National Assembly member, you're talking about over $9 million annually.
Annually.
Yes. So multiply that by 5. Yeah, $9 million. Sorry,
for the 5 years.
1,824,000 annually. Multiply that by 5 over 9 million. So every National Assembly member who was a member before the 2022 elections went home with 2,280,000. Yeah. Because they got their increase, I think it was last year. Was it the year before last or last year? So this bill is just a formalization
of that increment.
Yes, but they got it already. So that is the situation. It's a lot of money. So I believe if National Assembly members are making that kind of money, then it's not bad.
It's not bad for the judges to have it too. If National Assembly are having it, I don't see any reason why the judges should.
But we are paying.
The president has it.
I said we are paying for luxury.
But the president has it.
You know,
the National Assembly has it. And these are the 3 branches of government. Now, if the National Assembly has it, the president has it, why not the judges?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
And you know,
why not?
You know, the interesting thing is, like I said, if you it goes to show how irresponsible we are as a country. I mean, because, for example, if you have a minister is the one in charge of an entire section of government intervention area, say, for example, digital economy, and every other person under that cadre works under the authority of the minister. The minister looks out for himself, and those people have to fend for themselves. Now, any argument for a salary increment in this country should look at the salary of the last guy to the first guy. There should never have been a salary increment of a president, salary increment of ministers, salary increment of National Assembly, salary increment. Then these things are not, they are even, and that is why even if you look at it, there is no equitable adjustment. There is no uniform way of adjusting it. Each one just adjust it as they feel like. So if you have a more level-headed approach to this, where you said, okay, government salaries are going to be increased across board equitably based on how much is reasonable for any amount, not across the board 100% or across the board 75%, because in that case you are giving fat salary increase to those who have fat salaries and nothing to those who have nothing. So if you look at the salary of a cleaner, clearly the cleaner should have gone home with something reasonable for him to be able to survive. Yeah.
The cleaner doesn't have a
vehicle. On the other hand, you are paying for luxury. You're paying for someone 200,000. Certainly, that person could manage his life with 50,000. I'm not saying that is what, because that's the state of the economy. And that is the economy he creates. He should be able to have morals and accommodate the payment that is coming from the economy he creates. It's his job to make the economy buoyant, and he failed in doing that. Why is the economy compensating incompetence? Because it's your job to make sure the economy pays everyone well. You are not able to do that for the last guy, but you are doing it for yourself. That's immoral. So if you look at, and that is why even these so-called allowances should all be banned. Salary should just be salary. Say, for example, if the president should have a salary. Let's say the president should earn 50,000. No robbing allowance, responsibility allowance, this allowance, that allowance. That's rubbish.
Allowances are not taxed. That's why.
They should just pay salary.
That's why allowances are not taxed.
Because, yes.
Basic salary is what is taxed.
This is wrong.
So that is why, you have just allowances more than your basic salary.
For Fatou,
yeah.
The logical thing is, who is taking the tax from salaries? It's the government. Government could afford not to tax it. Because tax deduction that is coming from salaries is basically coming back to government. It's the same government paying the salary, so the government doesn't have to tax it. The point is, government has to have a reasonable way to say, to make a salary, an integration of pay scales and say, this is what all ministers will be paid. Or ministers depending on their responsibility. This is what judges depending on their responsibility. This is everybody, no allowance. Everybody, this is what you will be paid, and this will be transparent. This is what you will be paid. Yeah, this is a fixed figure. This is not science. The only reason why they make all these things is to confuse everybody. You don't even know who is paid what. But it doesn't make sense. Let people be paid a salary. And this salary could be transparent. Why are you, what is the, now ask them what is the logic of saying we are paying, they even pay allowance for people to use IFMIS, like the government financial system. You hire someone, you have an accounting system that an individual should use to be able to stamp out corruption, and he is refusing to pay. You have to bring in an incentive to get him to pay, to use it. He should be sacked. You are a president. Yes, that person should go home. Government hires you. They have an accounting system you should use to pay people. You are not using it, and government has to bring you an incentive to get you to use it. You should be sacked. And that is, they come with all these rationales. People need to be paid to avoid corruption. It's not true. I told you that. The people we are investigating are paying high. Get paid higher than us. We investigate multi-million-dollar contracts. Yeah. So we should quit and go and work for mercenaries?
I think
So it doesn't make sense. I mean,
yes. But, if you look at the story of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, of course, was the founding father. And say, for example, private practice. If you want competent people, there are a lot of competent people, but some are much more competent than others. So they compete. The government of Singapore compete with the parastatals for brilliant talent. Yes, they do that. Said if you have a cheap government, then obviously you're going to have a government that fails. So yes, I think in the case of the judiciary, if you want to hire truly outstanding talent, the bench is not for everybody.
Yeah.
But you need to put money into it. I accept that. Singapore would not give you 100% what Standard Bank would give you. But if you're going to get 100,000 from employment with Standard Bank, then Singapore, the government, that was how it started, will give you 85, 90,000. You know, the difference is not too much. That would come naturally to you. So that rationale to attract outstanding talent is an acceptable argument. So certain branches of the government, like the judiciary, I mean, yeah, you pay for what you get.
Yeah.
Yes, there are good people there, very competent. So, and there are people who are very good as well in private practice. I don't know whether, these current salaries would attract them to join the bench. Yeah, but it'll be difficult. But, if the incentives are good, the working conditions are good, there are training opportunities and other things, maybe, yes, people probably would go on the bench. It's not for everybody. Yeah, so attracting talent, I can accept that. But I'm not sure those justifications was as far as this particular bill is concerned. Yeah, if you go to the back of it, you'll see the objects there. I mean,
And the objects they don't.
No, the objects are all about judges. So, and you say judicial officers, just say judges. Yeah, judges' remuneration and other entitlements bill. That would be a more rational way to look at it. Yeah,
But if everybody goes for just money, how would this society also look like? Because I could start an investigation and take money from people. No, really. I could go and work for some politician who pays me. I do opposition research. If I make it my job to destroy anybody, I will.
Yeah.
Making money is easy, Fado. It's easy to be rich. And if the society's educated people's preoccupation is just primitive accumulation of wealth, it's going to be a problem. Because some of us go to school, our parents didn't go to school. And now they send you to school to now count on you to solve the society's problem. If you are a judge and you are hired, you provided an opportunity to dispense justice to your father, for example. This is an honorable opportunity. And you have to contribute to society's stability. And I'm saying, yes, you should have comfort. But should it be luxury to a point that you have to get it in a way the economy cannot afford? So, for example, because this, like I said, if we have to all go for money, a lot of us wouldn't be doing what we are doing. Most people can justify this, right? You can take advertisement from anybody, You can just go and work for money. If everyone works for money, this country would be wrecked. Honestly, nobody will do public service. But the essence of public service is not going for private wealth. We can go for private wealth and, stop all this, let everyone fence for yourself. And if we do that, the little man will die. Honestly, because not everybody has the opportunity to go and advocate. Like these guys have their container, a whole charity. They couldn't know what happened to it. They couldn't even have an answer whether it was auction or not.
Governance, Mustapha, governance.
Yes, but that's not happening. So now if everybody just goes and we all say, okay, I can say I am deserving of I'm deserving of a lot more money than I currently have.
Yeah.
So everyone can make that argument. It's a very simple one.
I remember sometimes, when you did some stories and people will reach out to me and say, oh, Mustapha, boy, how people want you to just kill their stories.
Yes.
And they are ready to give you a lot of money. We have a lot of that in this profession.
Yes.
And I remember one time there was this particular story that you were working on, and that person, you were supposed to travel, and that person wanted to meet us. And it was more about just to offer us money just to kill that story. But I remember him saying, Fatou, look, the farmer was senelalti. The uluta senola kono. Boy, nyunuka senelal be fala, senelal master, and that keeps ringing in my head. And if everybody works for money, what happens to the people who cannot get that money?
At some point, that has to be also in the head. Like, what is the very purpose of education? Like, why did I go to school? Like, did I go to school? I'm not saying you shouldn't be rich. Yeah, it's okay to be rich. It's okay to be comfortable. But then at some point when you also get reasonable amount of money, what should be the preoccupation? You see. So, but if the society, everybody is, I'm educated, I need to get the best of services. I mean, we need to be, and in the Gambia, people truly are arrogant. We try to use, we disguise it. Well, you hear a Gambian example, don't give them relevance. It's an arrogant statement. How do you give me relevance by talking to me as a public officer? Relevance is not what you determined. The people are more relevant than you because they hire you and they're paying you.
Governance.
Exactly.
That's what I always...
We keep saying governance,
No, Fat.
Why do you think we have governance issues in this country?
Because in this country, you hide everything. Yes, people take things personally.
Yeah.
You run departments as if they belong to you. How could a container go missing under circumstances as explained by Mustapha?
Yeah.
If there is governance here, we wouldn't have that problem. People would say the rule of law. It's not a mantra, my friend. That is a system. You're going to have a system. And it's very, very difficult. The rule of law is difficult. The wastage in our society is due to the fact that we prefer to do everything under the ground. Under the ground, not above ground so that we can see each other, no. Under the ground. Yes. You go to Ministry of Lands today and say, who owns that land at Salaji? They'll say they don't know. You go there tomorrow, a member of the of Department of Lands would have sold it to somebody. A member of the Physical Planning Department would have sold the land to somebody. These are incredible things that happen, and these are public servants. You go to Salaji, they are squatting on people's lands there, build story buildings. How do you afford a story building working for physical planning or lands? How do you do that? Unless you took a loan from the bank. But if you didn't, how do you afford that?
And you said something that is very important. People are very emotional in this country.
Yes.
You have a conversation around somebody's department. That is taboo, huh?
Yes.
That person calls you at night, being I
think the right word is arrogance. You have some who are honorable.
I get that every single day. When Buba does the show, they call me, when Landing does a report, from this show, I'm going to get calls. And coming to this show, somebody said to me, you're going to have to, when they saw the poster, you have to handle this properly. Jojo, they are very powerful. I said, I'm sure the CJ is a Democrat. He would want us to discuss issues surrounding his department because it's important to hold each other accountable. In the United States, the Supreme Court made a ruling 2 days ago about presidential immunity. The President of the Republic, the President Joe Biden said they are not kings. Nobody is a king in this country. The judges are not king. People make opinions before even judgment is made all over the world. It is only in the Gambia they tell you cannot talk about cases, honey. Case be in court, you cannot talk about it. You cannot have opinion. Our neighbor Senegal, during the Ousmane Sonko case, I have watched day before rulings, day before landmark rulings, day before cases, professors from the university legal scholars coming out telling us what the judgment should be. If this is what the judge is to rule on, this is what the constitution, enlightening the people. Today, I know more about the Senegalese constitution than I know of the Gambia, because how legal scholars come out and explain to us and give us reference to cases that are on, because that attracts people. When something is on and legal professionals come on and say, no, this is what the constitution says, this is what the ruling should be about the judges, you are not just interfering or influencing the ruling, but you are just saying what our law says. But that is a taboo in this country.
Yes, there is an act that prohibits it.
Yeah.
Yes, there is an act that prohibits it. It is questionable whether that act should really prevail in a modern democratic society. Because the reason why they are talking about influence is countries where there are jurors.
Yeah.
Say, for example, in the UK or in the US. So if we have a jury system here, but look, lawyers argue before members. of the superior courts, the magistrates, everybody else. You don't influence those people easily.
No.
Now, if it is lay people making the decision, I can understand that. So that law is questionable. It's still on the books. But to be honest, I don't know.
We should look at
under a proper reform system, I don't think we should have those kinds of laws on the books. Yeah, you cannot influence a judge by discussing
something.
You can influence other people.
But not a judge.
Yeah, lay people, but not a judge.
Because they're supposed to...
Yeah, they got tremendous training. Magistrates as well, because today a lot of them are legally qualified. So they can listen to what you say, but they'll then say rubbish.
Yeah.
You're not going to...
Yeah, because if the lawyer cannot convince them, I don't know who I am or you to convince them. So I think it's healthy to have these conversations around, especially departments, and the judiciary is one of them.
It's part of the law, I understand that, but anyway, we liked our little British laws.
I think that part we need to look at.
Those things are not, in operation in even the UK today. So, but anyway, our culture is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are not fully mature as a democracy. And we like to govern behind the curtain. Mustapha shouldn't go to the GRA or the Ports Authority. He should just sit in his office and be able to get the information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, access to information is already a law.
Yeah.
But you would be surprised, how much we suffer. I mean, for us, to get a story that should take you 2 days, takes you 3 months here.
Yeah.
Sometimes... in average, you publish around 3 major or 4 major investigations a year. And you could do stories you could have done in 6 months, are stories you would do in 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple things. So governance is the problem. And the economy, the governance, the waste is not curtailed. Corruption is not fought. And by waste, I am talking about all these like fuel coupons, unnecessary fuel coupons you give to people that they don't need. You have public servants here who can't exhaust their coupons. They have to give it out to people. They do. I mean, we live in this society. We know.
Yeah.
You allocate even drinks they buy for public servants.
Yeah.
Nobody should buy anyone a drink. If you water, yes, you need that. It's necessary. Drink. Why would public buy you a drink? you drink if you want that. You buy it for yourself.
It's a privileged position.
That's what I am saying, Fadu. It's a waste. It needs to stop. You buy yourself. People buy you water. But drinks, if you need that, you buy it for yourself. Health insurance for public officers going to private hospitals should be stopped. If you need health insurance, it should be with a EFSTH, it should be with a public hospital. Private hospital health insurance from government and parastatals and everybody should be stopped. The public whose money you are using to take your wife to private hospitals, I can't name any, but private hospitals, those people cannot afford to go to those private hospitals. And when those private hospitals do a mess, you know who they send the dead person to?
To EFSTH. Yes.
And we are using state resources to sponsor this nonsense. I mean, it's scandalous. And this kind of waste is too many. Like you go into government, I'm telling you, if they stop waste, traveling for example, if they stop all of that, people go, when COVID happened here, we knew, in fact, most of the meetings we attend could be live.
Yeah.
Yeah? Renting. You have government has more buildings in this country than.
But they're still renting.
There is AU Villa at the present. They are allocating them. People who are residents there. The government has buildings all over this place. Even Bruford Heights, they have buildings there. They would rather allocate it to individuals to go stay there. Jame has places here. They would rather sell them. And government, the same government that sell those houses is renting. You have ministries, they are spending millions of dollars on rent every year. It's recklessness. Huh? So this kind of waste, they need to reduce this waste and now take this money to where it's needed. Yeah. And make sure these bonuses are stopped. Let people be paid salary. If you are paid salary, even if you perform well, they can still increase your salary. You perform well, who says salary cannot be increased? If you are paid $20,000 and you do very well, no allowance, but you can be paid $20,500, $20,025. They can increase it. But all these bonuses is because they always find a way to, they create a lot of it. So they will say, for example, we are not paid well. My salary is $10,000 and the person's salary is $75,000. Bonuses, allowance is $75,000.
Yeah.
Salary is $10,000. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
So all these are ways they use to siphon state funds and make it into other kind of use. And even allocating, creating accounts, all this, I know this is allowed in the financial, the 2020, I think, financial whatever act, that state ministries and state agencies that are generating revenue can allocate their own accounts. Can have their own accounts where they save a certain percentage of the funds they generate. This should be stopped. If you need money, send it. It should be allocated to you through a budget. It should be one. But they always find a way. This money, there is little accountability on how this other resources is spent. Very little accountability. I've done a number of stories on how petroleum ministry use their funds, geology department use their funds. I mean, we diagnose Jame and how he spent these monies.
But we are still doing the same.
And we are still doing, and so they know, everybody knows, every year audits are coming out. And one of the primary reasons for audit is not to prosecute people, that's part of it. It's to find out flaws in the system and yesuki. But you are doing audits every year is the same issue. Every year is the same issue you are talking about. This system, everybody knows the flaws. You don't need education to know it. Everybody knows the flaws, and they are not fixing it. So the same people who are in charge of a system like that are the same people who are now consider themselves deserving of all this kind of luxury. It's not acceptable. You know, I don't think it should be tolerated.
Thank you very much, Mustapha. Mr. Rao, if this law is passed, what impact do you think it will create in the judicial system? Because it's just for judges. You don't have the magistrates and other judicial officers. What impact would it create in the judicial system, in the system itself?
Well, actually, these benefits and preparing judges for retirement and things like that.
Yeah.
So at the global level, in terms of how it would impact the judiciary, I really don't know. because the money is going to individuals. Yeah, so it would impact the life of those individuals. But as to the system, the money is not coming into the system. I think what you are saying about that is something that should be seriously considered. But if electricity can be a problem for the third arm of government, then obviously the luxuries, the comfortable environments you are talking about would be probably a tall order. That would be very difficult. So I think the working conditions need to be improved. I agree entirely with that. The bill is likely to pass.
Yeah.
And if it does, it would affect positively the individuals who would benefit. But they need to look at the overall judicial system, make it more attractive. It's less populated than the humongous executive that's very big. Mm-hmm. The National Assembly and the judiciary are about the same size. Mm-hmm. Yes, I believe even the judiciary is bigger than the National Assembly, because National Assembly probably is about 150, 200 people. Judiciary is far more than that. Yeah, because the courts are all over the country. So I hope it comes with some upgrading of the framework, the judicial system across the country. But the monies are not meant for that. Yeah. The monies are not meant for that. The monies are meant for the upkeep of the court officers. Yeah, the judicial branch is a dignified arm of government. Obviously, is less noisy than the political arm of government, which are the National Assembly and the executive. Yes, judiciary is less noisy, is more dignified, and things like that. So, yeah. I think some level of hike in the benefits is acceptable, but they should bring a lot more people on board. If you go to the object section, obviously you will see that it is centered on judges, even though that is not what the title says. Yeah, the Constitution has defined who a judicial officer is. Yeah, and the sheriff. Arguably, the sheriff should be a judicial officer, but the judicial secretary, no, is just an administrator. But specifically, the registrar, the assistant registrar, the magistrate, the master of the High Court, all of those people are judicial officers.
But they are not in this bill?
No.
No. Wow. So it's only the judges?
Yes, effectively, it's only the judges.
Wow. I hope so. But can the National Assembly edit include the magistrates in this? Is it possible?
Well, the National Assembly has the ability to debate and
take it to committee stage and edit, for example.
They can incorporate things that they believe would enhance the attractiveness of the bill. They can do that, because I remembered one of the reasons why the draft constitution failed was some members were angry that people were saying it's either you take it or reject it, but you cannot do anything with it. Yeah. So members couldn't understand that a bill would come to them and they would. People are saying don't touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if they want to do any amendments, but would they understand what is at issue here? I doubt it. Yeah. Maybe they can change the figures.
The figures.
Yeah. Or they can ask for the figures and work around them.
Yeah.
But as to including orders, like magistrates, I don't think the National Assembly would have the foresight to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
hopefully the National Assembly looks at this critically and just do the right thing by the Gambian people. I think the judges, like any other.
But National Assembly doesn't have even the moral authority to reject this. They also have their own.
I mean,
why should they reject?
I'm not saying. I'm not saying reject it, but look at it. You know,
change anything
holistically,
there.
maybe incorporate the magistrates, you know, and other judicial officers, and also just look at some of the figures, you know, because, I mean, the president's bill, when the president's bill came, it said 100% of his salary when he retires, when, you know, people argued that that is unreasonable. And the National Assembly did edit, and I think they do either 80 or 75%. So something like that can be also done to, you know, that. I mean, we all agree the judiciary should have a pension scheme, but they should just look at the numbers and, you know, and play around with that just to look at something that our economy can accommodate. I think that is what is reasonable here. Because just like me, you, and every other person, we all want retirement packages, but we also want it to be something that, you know, wherever you work can accommodate. I think this, in this way, in this situation, is the Gambia government. What can we accommodate for the judiciary? I think that is something the National Assembly should look at. It should be able to take this to committee stage and look at it from that angle.
No, it will pass. I think the behind-the-scenes lobbying has succeeded. So the bill will pass. Okay. You know, I don't see a problem with. I cannot foresee it failing. You know, I cannot foresee it failing, but it should be more inclusive.
Should be more inclusive.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Magistrate Darboe. I wanted to look at our bill. Everybody is getting promotions, they're getting pensions, but for us, they're trying to scrutinize and school us with the cybercrime bill. We talked about it last time, but you know.
Because the whole point for the system to work efficiently the way they want it to inefficiently work. Is to shut down people like us.
Yeah, we will not be shut down. I mean, Minister Moela Kuno the 40 million contract was to kill this disinformation and misinformation on people who parade themselves as media platforms and operating as political platforms. Wolf.
Well, yeah, maybe that's for UDP online platform, but definitely not us.
Not us.
I mean, the good thing about me and my journalism is that I don't go to a politician for an opinion.
Yeah.
Your opinion of me is
it doesn't matter.
Opinion.
Yeah,
I don't wake up a day to think about it.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
So, however times you say it, how many?
And he was also making, Ismaila, I think people in the ministry should. Ismaila was not in the office when this contract was signed. And I heard him saying this contract was negotiated. Somebody should tell Ismaila it was not a negotiation. It was a 10% discount. Walatina could get a 5.2 to 5.3. But he was there at the National Assembly saying it was renegotiated, but that is not the truth. I'm sorry, Ismaila, you should go look at don't be making statements like this to the National Assembly. It's serious. If I get paid by government, they take 10% from me. That money is not negotiation.
It's called withholding tax.
It's withholding tax. I claim it at the end of the year. That is part of my money. That was what was taken.
That's why you declare to GRA.
That's what you declare to GRA. But he's making it like, he negotiated. And they, now we pay the 1.2. The ones for 5.9 is 1.2. But if you calculate, I just made the calculation. I'm like, what is he talking about? Who is he? He was taking for the 10% that was taken. This is so serious. I think Tukulor Siko, that's my brother Lamin Darboe from Gunjo. Tukulor Bekondona.
Yes.
Tukulor Bekondona.
She's a distinguished lady.
Tukulor, I take a Tukelo Dronella. I take more activists. I take a Tukelo
Dronella. But even those days, I've been reading Nadoro.
How do you book that?
She reads a lot.
Wow.
That's why she's so aware.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. She's a activist.
Yes, absolutely.
Final message program Banta. Final message.
Well, final message is let's always do things openly, with transparency, and without too much emotion. These are public issues.
Yeah.
Yes. My mantra in life is Lincoln's second inaugural, with malice toward none. I don't have time for that. And with respect for the dignity of every person.
Yeah. And thank you for coming. Loyal, mole manson kanani ko discuss. Loyal ko boy fa.
Because he okay intimate.
You want us to now? They will talk to you behind the scene, though. They give you all the advice and everything. But they come to for. Hey, Jojo, I'm going no Monte Mal. We just explaining below Mune for wrong. Mafale afonye fa albe dami. Ala explain you the very. Jama baba Sunday man hani you go mobuka Jojo Majam. Don't find Jojo Made because yeah long. Jojo la peno kuliata baraka.
I think our society is very elitist driven, and you see that even in people, like they meet you and they look at you and they hear your name and they look at you dressed in a and wow, oh, it's you.
It's you. Tell Mustapha Darboe,
because they think that you are you should look like something else. Because there is a box, like society creates boxes,
for people,
and these boxes they create themselves, and that's why I said we are not humble people, We talk about it. But because if that's why you see our expression, who are you?
For me, I've been commenting on public affairs since 1993. Why should I be afraid at this age? Of what and for what reason?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. 1993, I was writing about public affairs.
Wow.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
I was a kid at that time.
That's a long time.
Respect like important. You must respect human beings. Not a position, any human being.
Any human being, yes. Absolutely.
That's what I believe in.
And I think it's very important, mindset, in Gambia, and a mindset for you to be able to look at your friend and tell them, look, my friend, you're managing this department, but it's not working. But Gambia jangniye mola department do maware mola area fongo madrong ko mari ke jele ko personal enemy. Until we change that, when we speak, the other day I said this, when we speak on this platform and talk about issues, talk about government or governance, it's not because we hate the president or we hate the government. It's because we want them to be better at what they're doing.
In fact, I said that one time, and I said that even what people call a corruption scandal, it's an opportunity for an efficient president. Because when a corruption erupts and you deal with it efficiently, people praise you. That is what makes a good leader. So every corruption is an opportunity for a good leader to be born. But it's also an opportunity for a corrupt leader to go after a media house. Because if you don't want to do anything right, you don't want anyone to talk about. That's why we had issues with Jame. Because all those things were happening. Imagine those things, central bank checks were assigned from central banks and taken to State House to be cast. Jame would have never wanted anyone to talk about it. So he wanted to make sure transparency is not there. And still now, while we give lip service to transparency, but the government is not ready for transparency. I'm working this system every day, so I know. People are still terrified.
No, the system is not there.
No,
it's not. The governance is very weak. Otherwise, you shouldn't be able to hide information.
Yes.
Yes.
And one of the things they also do, like for example, they give folks bulk information that they have no capacity to decipher. So for example, if we are talking about a contract, you give us information. Okay, the contract is awarded to Kerr Fatou, and the contract sum is 10 million. And you do not give people the contract documents. You didn't give them the access to bid documents.
Everything.
You did everything. and including the person behind the organization, so that people can look out for even conflict of interest, and including people who the contract committee minutes. These are supposed to be public documents, and that is also the reason why they run away from information classification, because information classification would order information based on what is classified and what is not, so that even access clearance levels will be clearly delineated. So, for example, what clearance a president has and to what level, you access information based on your clearance level. Like where issue of classified information exists, like in the US. In the Gambia, this is classified. No, it's not. Classification information is a legal regime.
Yes, it
is. It is a legal regime. Now, contract documents are in no way
classified documents
anywhere near that. But when you do information classification now, you cannot put contract documents there. So this issue of blanket classification of information as classified, highly confidential, because it's written by the president. Who said so? If the president writes a letter ordering someone to order this contract, that is not classified.
Yeah.
That is a contract document. Not classified.
Not classified.
It has no national security implications. Not classified.
Not classified.
It should be exposed, and the people should hold the president to account. But because they don't want that, that's why we even have access to information. But one of the weaknesses in the system is also that we don't have a proper information classification regime.
Yeah. Interesting conversation. I see a Gambia L reunion in my comment section. They are bringing the Gambia L days back. I see Tukulor and Usman talking about that. And thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Mustapha. Pata program Bandar. He said he's just coming in. We should start all over. I don't know how we can do that. Maybe catch it up on YouTube. That would be interesting. You can catch it up on YouTube.
Apparently, Pata is the heir apparent.
What is the app? Yeah,
that's what he said.
Yeah, Mr. Darboe.
Well, tell him that is in the UDP campus. He's not heir apparent.
He's not heir apparent in Gambia. In the UDP camp, he can be. But I don't know if I want a Pata president. That will be disastrous.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's not heir apparent.
That will be disastrous. But thank you very much, lawyer Lamin Darboe, and of course Mustapha, for breaking it down. And just like I said, I think it's first let's look at, he said this bill will be passed. So when it is passed next, let's look at the working condition of the judicial officers. That way, that will directly have an impact on us, the citizens. Because if the conditions are right, if the judicial officers can stay in the court for a longer period, that way cases will be finished on time, and that impacts all of us.
And put some AC in the court.
Put the AC, put ACs and all of that there. Yes, that way they can stay longer in court. So in Senegal, it takes 1 month to look at a case and just close it. In Gambia, it takes 10 years, 5 years, 3 years.
That's what happened to Aisha Fati.
Aisha Fati's case. No, ala case do be janne.
Senegal decided that within 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. It's the investigation that took 2 weeks. The entire case took only 2 weeks. The judge started from morning until 8 p.m. That was when they gave the decision. They said, when you come next week, we give the decision. And decision,
most trials
didn't even have
investigation takes a lot of time.
Investigation took 2 weeks. The trial took 2 days. And then the next Friday, Jojo Natare Casitale, well, buka nyimfenko beri de fenge, kana ko Aisha Fati fenge.
Because and they issue the judgment.
1 month. I talked to the family. You know what they said? They are so happy that this case is taking place in Senegal. The other case, investigation stage, abita trial. They are sure, they know it's not going to take more than a month. And whilst Gambia jangala case do be 2 years amamba no hansai. So wobe fisiano la nyadile if our conditions are improved in the judiciary. Near Jojo la courtroom all comfortable in the resources all available, computer nim fengol that way. I think that's my favorite judge. Jojo la sign. Let's pass the Jojo la bill. More feeling Jojo la
I am not against the bill. I have no opinion on the bill.
You have no opinion?
I have a general opinion on salary
Increment, yes. No, I understand. I'm just kidding, yeah. But thank you very much, gentlemen. It was a good conversation. But apart from that, it was a good conversation. It's so hot here.
Yeah.
We cannot put the AC on because you know, I think the first thing the government should have done is pump a lot of money in Nawek.
Nawek.
Yes. Mustapha,
no. Nawek kodota fix no.
Muna ba fix?
Nawek. Yaro.
Governance.
Yaro la Nawek fix.
Governance.
Nawek te fix.
Nawek. Amanda ko ning governance te dula to bi hanne Saudi Arabia la kodo di Gambia. Modol bita din ko sinne dimba male ya keje. Bari atenna
fala. Nawek Gambia government na julomem be Gambia government bela. In public, Nawek will gamtel will asab. A lot of them are not loans that are contracted by central government, contracted by private. But look, even Nawek, watch out for few things. Nawek la procurement, particularly for things like janitor spare parts or heavy fuel or Nawek la polo or only politically connected people have it. At any point.
Thank you very much, Mustapha. Thank you, Lamin Darboe. Until we come your way next week Thursday, inshallah, with another interesting topic. Good night to you all. See you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are happy to announce the launch of our new logo. We have evolved since our incorporation in 1997, and it is time to refresh our new look to reflect who we are today. Before I reveal our new look, however, walk with me while I take you through our journey of the last 25 years. Trust Bank was incorporated on July 3rd, 1997, and began operations on October 1st, 1997. Following the collapse of the parent company of its predecessor, Meridian, the CBG stepped in and recapitalized the bank and held the shares in trust, thus the name Trust Bank. In 1999, the first investors who responded to the IPO and paid $1.50 per share received their maiden dividend of 50 bututs per share. In 2000, the bank fully paid back its investment by declaring another dividend of $1.20 bututs per share, making it a cumulative dividend per share of $1.70, which was 20 bututs above the purchase price. Between 2002 to date, share capital has increased from $27 million to $200 million, indicating that true to who we have always been. As we look forward to greater achievements, we are rebranding to reflect who we are today and the future that we inspire. Our new logo has been designed to visually demonstrate our Gambian heritage and the sophisticated nature of the bank. We are moving away from the navy and gold-colored parallelogram-shaped logo to our baobab tree with a rising sun in the background. The striking outline of a baobab tree at sunrise is a familiar sight to anyone who has spent time in the Gambia. Our new logo and visual identity are inspired by our core values and spirit of being a pioneer in providing a unique banking experience. It is a completely new look that better matches the transformation we have made as a company. But we remain your trust bank. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to present to you our new logo and corporate identity.